Good morning, everybody. It's me, Teri Hunter, fixing her hair. It is Sunday, November 1st, 2020, here in the United States. I want to welcome you all back. We're in for another great week of opportunities for all sorts of things. So I want to start off. Good morning, CC Pups. Talking about our first event we had was yesterday, which was the Blue Moon, and we kind of discussed that in last week's video. So I'm going to move straight forward to Mercury going direct. It's going to be, I believe, the third for us in the United States, and for those on the other side of the globe, it'll be the fourth. This is going to make an aspect, I believe it's about 26 degrees, as Mercury moves forward in Libra, squaring Saturn. And I was thinking about how this, could affect our thinking, and it could affect our communications, all those kind of normal things. And as I was getting ready, I just felt like, you got to be really careful texting while you're walking down the sidewalk. I felt like the big things were going to be obvious, the big things that Saturn could represent in our lives, but it's the small things that may catch us off guard. We think about, Mercury ruling everyday activities, short-term travel. Well, what's our short-term travel? Going to and fro work. And I just feel like people could potentially be on edge, because this week also we have, towards the end of the week, Jupiter and Pluto will be conjunct at 22 degrees. Again, this is a very transformational time when our everyday activities are going to be transformed by the beliefs of government, of rules and restrictions, and how we've done things. I've been super into watching history. I'm taking some mentorship classes with Brian Coulter to read past lives in the chart, and I was called to watch history, or at least listen to it while I do my art projects, to gain a broader knowledge of the potentials. And I just keep seeing history repeating itself so much from what was going on 200 years ago, and then 200 years before that. When we think about the Civil War, there were some people who thought that abolishing slavery was an act of treason. It was literally changing their everyday lives completely. And now we look back on that and we can't even imagine they would think that way. So this week, as you're moving forward, pay attention to some of the smaller things. We tend to think of it as communications, our emails, our conversations, our contracts, things like that. I'm seeing myself walking down the street. I'm seeing myself on an escalator. I'm seeing myself in an elevator. All these things are ruled by Mercury. So pay attention to that, and pay attention to how your thought process is more Saturnian than you may think it is. That you may in some level notice that your belief system, or how you think, is showing up again in a Saturnian way, offering you an opportunity to reevaluate it. Because with Pluto and Jupiter being conjunct at 22 degrees, and this is kind of great, because then Jupiter's going to move off, Saturn's moved off, we're going to spread these planets out, and their potency as a cluster is going to reveal the potential transformations that all this last couple of years has been offering us. So you yourself may feel calm, you yourself may feel centered, and yet other people may find themselves unconsciously agitated, fearful, and anticipating that their everyday lives are going to change to a point where they don't, it's going to be something they don't think they're going to like. So that's what I think is pretty much the strongest dynamics of this coming week. And as we know, Mercury moves very quickly. So these things, these potentials of walking down the street and not paying attention to what you're doing, stepping up on a curb, pulling into a driveway while you're looking the other way or looking down. Be very mindful of that this week. I just want to say, feels very on the potential. Okay, so and there was one other thing I wanted to say, but it has slipped my mind. I want to welcome everybody to the chat. Welcome you back again. So good to see everybody. And I had a really nice Halloween myself. I just watched a bunch of, I watched two things. I watched the History Channel, Haunted History, which was really fascinating and great. A lot of murder stuff. And then I watched the Osbournes. Jack Osbourne's quite the paranormal investigator. So that was really kind of fun and cheeky. Again, I'm not really watching it. I'm sort of listening to it while I'm working on an art project. So I'm going to start with our readings now. I'm going to start with Pisces. I'm going to work my way towards Aries. And if somewhere in the middle I remember what that last thing I wanted to say was, I will, I'll let you know. Creepy Kita, what happened? A man on the sidewalk tried to what? You did small wildflowers? Oh my goodness, we are so... Tried to kidnap you? I'm sorry. I'm just making this crazy for the viewers. Small wildflowers watch the same show I watched. But Creepy Kidna, someone tried to kidnap you? Oh my goodness, I'm so glad God and the angels were watching over you. Oh, that's scary. It's a little bit of a scary time. We got a pivotal week coming up again. I'm not going to go into any of the events. All right, here we go. Tracy Parker, you're back in lockdown from Thursday. I'm not surprised. I have to say, I've been expecting this to happen. I've been expecting there to be another round of constriction. I haven't experienced it here in the United States yet, but I do anticipate it. We've had, as you all know, Tuesday's election day here. So I don't even know what to say. I expect a lot of interesting things as a result of that. Okay, so let's get on to our, the stockpiling is starting. Oh yeah, okay. Thanks for letting us know. Let's put a big bubble of love around this and see what we can do. So I'm going to start with Pisces, work my way towards Aries. Thank you, Juan, for being so good and writing 16 different timestamps down for Pisces before I actually start. So I apologize for that. All right, here we go. Let's see what's up for Pisces this week. And again, I just have to I want to emphasize even more so than the Pluto Jupiter conjunction. I really want to offer the square between Saturn and Mercury really having some sort of effect in the physical world of your everyday life. I wouldn't be surprised if your battery, died in your car. And try to be aware in that moment when something is irritating in everyday life that this is that moment and that square, and how do you want to address it? Because you may just laugh and go, of course. Okay, here we go. For our first angel for Pisces is Archangel Raphael. The second is Rochelle. The third is Ariel. And the final is Francesca. Anna, remind me to answer that after I finish Pisces. But it's at 26 degrees, so it'll last a day or two. I don't think Mercury takes that long, but it's at 26 degrees. Mercury's still in Libra, and of course Saturn's in Capricorn. I think that answered it. Okay, joining Archangel Raphael for Pisces is the Wealth card. Joining Rochelle is the Joy card. Joining Ariel is the Partnership card, and joining Francesca is the Love card. Okay, this is amazing because, I was going to focus in on Mercury and Saturn, but this Pisces is where the Pluto Jupiter, your ancient ruler, is now going to be in an exact conjunction with Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth. And I think that the rebirth is happening now. I feel like Archangel Raphael is offering you a healing, a reconciliation, a a balancing is the way I want to put it when it is regarding your wealth. And I don't think this is just about your material wealth. This particular card really represents harmonious wealth for me. It's thriving in all the facets of my body, my mental body, my emotional body, my physical body, my spiritual body, my family body. Because Pisces, I think the transformation comes as a result of you really honoring and following the guidance of your heart and putting what makes you happy first. And this is not in exclusion to others. It's more where it's been to the exclusion of your own happiness. It's almost as if compromise wasn't really compromise. It was you acquiescing to something else, because in the angel's advice is the partnership card. And Ariel saying that new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing the way you view yourself and the world at large. And that world right now is your own happiness, your own heart, because in the final position is Francesca saying, what do you desire now? Visualize that, and it will start to bring in the laws of attraction. And then your job is to remember that if you love it, now is the law of allowing. And you don't know how that allowing will happen. You can't move the chess pieces. You get to just trust a feeling that comes across you, that there is a light being shined, a door opening inside your heart where you realize that as I put myself and my desires first, I am inadvertently actually putting other people's desires first, because I understand them in a way that brings a clarity of heart that allows myself not to appear selfish, because other people resonate with it. So this is fabulous. Pisces, your ancient ruler is meeting with Pluto in a sign of restriction, to finally lift that restriction, to make sense of that restriction, and then to be able to transform it into your everyday life and start to implement it. So that's where I'm going with that. On to Aquarius. I want to quickly say, I'm so sorry, Nirvana Flux, that I think I saw that your grandfather passed away. How awesome to live 99 years. Did I see that as well? Because 9 is a culmination number. And 99 is 2 nines. And 99 is an 18. 9 plus 9 is 18. And when you reduce 18 down to a number, it's a 9. So this is really beautiful. And I want to offer it this way, because now that he's on the other side, this may be an opportunity for you to see more communications from the other side. The veil is in some ways thinning. And today, November 1st, is the Day of the Souls. Isn't it All Saints Day? Okay. All right. So I'm going to be starting now. I'm going on to Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Janine. Hi, Shelly, Stephen, Brianna, Nikki, CJD. Okay. I know there's many others I've missed in the chat. I apologize. Morning, Juan. Okay. Aquarius, our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Archangel Michael. The third is Layla. And the final is Francesca. Ooh. Pardon me, dropped some cards. All right. All Souls Day. Tomorrow is All Saints Day. Thank you, CC Pups. That's an important distinction, actually. Okay. Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Let's see who's joining Archangel Uriel. Is the partnership card. Joining Archangel Michael is the protection card. That's interesting. Joining Layla is the hawk, and joining Francesca is the disruption card. Okay, so Archangel Uriel deals with unforgiveness, anger, frustration, and you're ruled by Uranus and Saturn. And Saturn will be frustrating and it will be depressing. It could be, you feel restricted. Your own thoughts will tell you to do what's right for everybody else instead of yourself. And Uranus is like, that's you know what, BS. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm sick of that whole thing, ancient ruler. And at this time, I feel like for my Aquarius is that you're frustrated in any partnerships that are restricting your personal expression. I don't want to make this like just about intimate partnerships. I feel like it's about everything. And I want to say it this way because the square between Saturn and Mercury that's happening this week, Mercury rules our siblings. And I always forget to bring that up because it's one of those mundane aspects of the sign that feels so palatable right now. So Aquarius, you could be annoyed with workmates, teammates, frustrated with the situation, frustrated with people and their I almost want to say their freedom of speech. And I don't mean it in a way like they're not allowed to have their freedom of speech, but somebody may be overzealous in how they're communicating and it feels like it's overbearing and bullying. That's kind of how I want to put it. Because I feel like you've been trying to be cooperative in a situation, and even though you're trying to be cooperative, the other party, whether it be a workmate, a sibling, but somebody in your everyday environment seems to be unaware of your olive branch, or you're trying to be neutral in the situation and they feel very overbearing about it. So, and I say that you're being protected because here's the opportunity. The great angel of protection, Archangel Michael, is here, and there's the protection card. And I feel like the reason you're being protected is because you have spent so much time doing who you are and getting to know you in a way that gives you the sight to look above the situation. It's almost as if one of the things I was getting while I was getting ready today was that those of us that are being or trying to live more conscious lives, more, making choices versus reacting to things, are, as we grow into this, our annoyance level can come down because we understand what somebody else is walking through. We may not agree with how they're showing up or their behaviors, but we're less reactionary towards them because we get it. And because this is what I want to say is Francesca is telling you to visualize what you want. And then there's the disruption card. And I feel like this is actually not a bad disruption. I've been talking about disruption being the doorway to your dreams. It's almost as if you can see the partnership is disruptive and you can leapfrog over it to where you want to be, where you want to be for yourself emotionally. I see people bringing up Thanksgiving out of the corner of my eye, and this may be, one of those situations that as we're teeing up for, at least in the United States, it's Thanksgiving, but the holiday season, and there may be communications that are choppy between family members because, one person's fine with this and another person's not fine with that, and it just feels very choppy. And so for Aquarius, I want to really empower you to say that I feel like the higher vibrations of Uranus can really rule the day as you are able to observe what's going on rather than reacting to it. So that's what I want to say. And I know I've been talking a long time. I'm going to go on to Capricorn now about getting a Zoom account. And I finally got it, you guys. So I can do a Zoom meeting. Just need to figure out technologically how to do it all. I mean, I can do one-on-ones. I just haven't tried group efforts. So to figure it all out. Okay. I believe Brianna the moon is going to be very strong in a person's chart because it rules your emotions. And I believe our emotions are the very basis of our communications. Okay. We used to have a club here, Stephen, in Laguna called the Boom Boom Room, but it's gone. It was fun. We had the Boom Boom Room, and then we had, I'm trying to think what the other one was. There was two really, really fun bars. Okay, here we go. For our Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Layla. The third is Archangel Uriel. Well, isn't this funny? And the final is Athena. Okay, Archangel Michael is being joined by the Love card. Layla is being joined by the Dragon. Archangel Uriel is being joined by Merlin. And Athena's being joined by the Goblin. Okay. I talked earlier in the video about how Pluto and Jupiter are going to be exact this last week. And I think it kind of, the 1 degree orb started yesterday and it will continue on for like the next couple of weeks. For my Capricorns, I think that this is pivotal because the Love card and Archangel Michael being in the foundational position to me is really asking you to be courageous in how you are loving, and not loving from a dutiful place, what you've been taught, but by what you would want to receive, what you feel. Curtis is saying it right there. Curtis Moonflower, magic is in the air. And I think that's what Saturn is asking to be transformed. It's really about, it's not, the dynamics of Saturn won't change. If you're not doing what you love, you will feel depressed. If you're not allowing for the vitality of your own passions, you'll feel old and dry and decrepit and critical of others that are, because that's the lower vibrations of Saturn. But the higher vibrations are, as you really contemplate, where does your power and strength come from? It doesn't come from your dutiful, angry emotions. It comes from alchemy, from justice, from the balance of what you want. It's not as if it's one thing or another. It's, for Saturn ruled people, it would be a combination of you and them versus just them or just you. Because this week, I think that there's a lot going on between your power and strength, what you want for yourself, and what the ego is telling you that you're required to do to be a valuable human being on this planet. And I think that's part of what is being rewritten in general. So here's Archangel Michael in the foundational position, asking you to have the courage to move towards what you love, and to not just move towards it, but to allow for the unique expression of it. Because the ego is going to tell you, of all the signs of the zodiac, Saturn is going to be the first one to say, no, you're not studied enough. You're not educated enough. You don't speak well enough. You don't come from the right socioeconomic background. I mean, you pick it, and Saturn will find it, and it will poke at it through the ego in its lowest vibration. So I feel like this is where you say to the ego, I get it. I know this is how we used to be. We did come from that, but now we've transformed it. Now we go into Pluto and Jupiter's transformation in your sign. The transformation of your beliefs, the death of the old, antiquated, that doesn't really serve you, but keeps you in a herd mentality with others that don't really want to expand and grow, which is not akin to what you are. If you're a Capricorn listening to this video, you're already evolving past the lower vibrations of Saturn. So as you start to take those into your everyday life as the new structure, it's my connection with spirit. Am I doing what I love? Am I being what I love? And then am I willing to do the hard work of continuing to believe as I move forward methodically? And then it all starts to make sense. And I want to offer it this way, because before I do every reading, I always ask God and the angels to ask my ego to step aside. And I honor my ego by saying, thank you for making me brave enough to stand in this energy. Now I need you to step aside so spirit may come through and dominate this period of time. All right, let's go on to our Sagittariuses. Hello, Tebow. I didn't see you in the room. Welcome. There's somebody I want to say hello to, but I can't say your name. Simfaiwi, I think it is. Welcome. There you are. Wow, that's it. Okay. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And the reason I say stelliums, when you have 4 or more planets, which is a strict stellium Some people will think of three as a loose stellium. It really has a strong influence in one sign or house. And because you can have a stellium in Placidus that traverses two houses. And in that respect, you want to really pay attention to the sign it's in, because it has something very strong to honor within this lifetime. Okay, here we go. Sagittarius. Our first angel is Crystal. The second is Francesca. The third is Desiree. And the final is Bethany. Welcome, Astro Ascension Tarot. Congratulations on cross-training you on the cash register. I'll put you in a place of responsibility for the money. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, joining Crystal is the Baird. Joining Francesca is Merlin. Joining Desiree is the Frog. And joining Bethany is the Hawk. The Baird represents poetry, music, our history. I almost always refer to it as our history, the story we come from. And then there's Crystal saying, have faith and hope. And for some reason, when I look at this, I almost feel like my Sagittariuses are really looking to the world at large. It almost feels like it is really that Jupiterian, higher vibrational, higher sight kind of feeling, where you're not worried about your own self, but just worried about everybody at large. How's the world going to be? What's life going to be like? And I say that because the world at large affects us more instantaneously than it ever did before. I mean, here we have this opportunity to converse through chats. People can share their opinions with things, regardless of time or location. And I feel like we're going to see a lot about people's beliefs, a lot about what they think is the best thing for all of us, you know? And when it comes to Sagittarius, I feel like the diversity of opinions and the way they're expressed may become wearisome for you this week. It may be, can't we just have some diplomacy and decorum, and can't we all just be nice and get along? It feels kind of Libran to me, because Crystal's saying have faith and hope, there's more on the horizon, and this is moving past the story. And I think this is the story of the last couple of years. You know, when I listen to the various astrology videos and I think about what was happening in 2017, you know, just around this very time when Saturn was going to move into Capricorn, and this conjunction was starting to come together. I'm still quite a novice astrologer back then. I didn't even realize how many of the other planets would contribute to this transformational, revolutionary, you know, restriction releasing time. But before restriction can be released, there becomes a crescendo, that, you know, a friction, because that's what Merlin is offering, is the friction, balance through pressure, justice. And Francesca is saying the only thing you can do is focus in on the bigger picture. Focus in on what the healing will happen. Because in the angel's advice, conditions are going to be a little kooky. And they're going to be, there's a cleaning of the house. And when we think about the cleaning of the house, we go right back to Mercury going direct. And as it stations, it's much more powerful. It's stationing today as it goes direct in the next day or so, depending upon where you are in the world. So our thoughts, our beliefs, our everyday activities, our relationships with people in those everyday activities, including people on the highway. If you're a person who tends to road rage, you know, really honestly, don't drink too much coffee in the morning before you get in your car, because this could be one of those weeks that you just get really cranky. Because Sagittarius, at the end of the day, You're going to be so much happier that you rose above the situation, whatever the story is out there in the big bad world that's being told. 50% of the population, I'm just going to say it this way, 50% of the population is not going to get their president. I don't know if it's your president or not, but whoever is on the losing side, even if we don't know what the outcome is going to be unhappy. And this is kind of where I'm going, is that, in general. So Sagittarius, the most valuable thing you can do this week is take care of you by rising above the current situations to try to see a wisdom. And the wisdom really is that, those that are caught up in the story of disruption aren't, they're like children there in some respects that need a certain amount of structure to feel safe in the world, and the lack of structure is making people feel unsafe. And in doing so, you might be able to help facilitate yourself and others feeling more comfortable. That's really the only way I can put it. Okay, so here we go. On to our Scorpios. I haven't listened to too many interpretations right now of what's going to happen with the election, because we're so close to it that I just feel like I'm just going to wait and see what happens. I don't think there's going to be an answer on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm just not getting that sense. All right, Scorpio, rising moon, sun, or stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Indriel. The third is Archangel Raphael. And the final is Bethany. This week, it's funny to me because I was so focused in on the square between Mercury and Saturn, and knowing that square isn't going to last long, but it's going to feel like it packs a punch to me. And it's like could not have anticipated toilet paper gate affecting our everyday lives, where all we did was think about how to get more toilet paper. It's probably something that as we all walked through that, wherever we were in the world, we thought that couldn't possibly, I can't believe I'm spending so much time thinking about toilet paper. I don't think that's going to happen again. All right. Scorpio, joining Archangel Michael is the history card. Joining Indriel is the focus card. Joining Archangel Raphael is the spider. And joining Bethany is the Lady of the Lake. Wherever you are in the world, the structure with which you have grown up in. There's things I grew up with that aren't necessarily healthy, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, but it makes me feel at home. It makes me feel cozy. It's a comfort thing. And I feel like what Archangel Michael is saying is that for my Scorpios, there's a certain amount of protection within your history. Now, this is interesting. I'm kind of seeing it a different way. And I don't mean that your history is going to be protected as much as it's like, they'll always be home. They'll always be more anchorage is how I want to put it. I feel almost like Scorpio sometimes might feel like there's nobody out there that cares. It's not happening. You might go to a dark place in some respects, really, as they say, go down the tube, go down the toilet. And I feel like Archangel Michael is asking you to be protected and to feel courageous, that the history of what the things you treasure, the things you feel warmed and cozied by are still going to be available and palatable to you. And your job in many ways is to dig deep and to find the connection to the light inside of you and to focus in on that. Because we're going to see Mercury going into Scorpio. And I want to say it this way, because as Mercury enters Scorpio, it feels like many Scorpio or Pluto ruled people will feel a connection to the other side that may feel very new and old at the same time. Because Archangel Michael, this sounds probably crazy right now, but I feel like this is all about a deeper connection. This partnership card does not feel like partnership. It feels like it's the other side to me. Like literally there's an opportunity for you to connect to, when I say your history, okay, so I could say, things that make you feel cozy, your grandma's, sauce, whatever that is, and your grandma's on the other side. Then Scorpio, you start dreaming about your grandma. You start dreaming about all these things from your story, from your history, but they're not things that are anchoring you to the sadness. It's things that you feel comforted by. Because I feel like that there's a bigger picture of protection going on for you, and that, it's time for you to be courageous in taking care of yourself, while that taking care of yourself is going to the warm places in your story, the things that make you feel safe, make you feel I keep wanting to like say hometown, home, that there's no place like home, almost kind of like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. When she was started off, there was a certain amount of malcontent for home because it was restrictive, and then it turns around. So that's where I'm going with Scorpio this week. It feels like your ruling planet and Jupiter, as they meet, bring you to a place that asks you to look at things, but with the eyes that feel fresh and reborn. I read this book by Richard Bach years ago called The Bridge Across Forever, and I think I've quoted it before. And there's a passage in it that says there will come a point when you'll look back on your history and you'll actually appreciate it, and you'll be grateful for it. So that's kind of where I'm going with this for Scorpio. All right, let's go on to our Libras. It's funny, Posted Up is like a food service or because, back in the day in the 70s, I'm just going to say it. People used to say, I posted up, and they just smoked weed. So I don't know, It always kind of confuses me. I just aged myself probably, but that's what they don't know. All right. Shelly, your mom was a Scorpio and she came to you in your dreams. That's awesome. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All right, Astro Ascension, Libra, Moon, and Stellium. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Samantha. All right, Libras. Venus is in your sign right now, too. So maybe we'll see some love in the air. Let's see. Okay. Seraphina is in the foundational position. Athena is in the opportunity, the obstacle. Chantal, the angel of romance, is in the angel's advice. And we have Ray in the final position. All right, let's see where we're going. Oh, Post Up. I get it, but it was actually, I actually think that's also, isn't it? Oh, it's Postmates. That's what I was thinking of, is Postmates. That's some sort of food delivery service. I haven't used that one. Okay. Let's see if we can make Thibaut's romantic dreams come true. Seraphina is being joined by the owl. Athena is being joined by the novice. Chantal is being joined by the bear. And Ray is being joined by the fear card. Okay. As I'm pulling the cards, I can't help but get this image of myself. I told you guys a few weeks ago, I felt like I got punched in the mouth. I was all like, and I didn't want to go to the doctor, dentist, during these times. So I went into meditation and I did all these things, and I started listening to a little bit of Abraham, and the law of allowing became very powerful. And what I realized is I had conceptually thought about the law of allowing, but I hadn't stated it. I hadn't declared it. I feel like for my Libras, Seraphina talks about a happy change to your family. And then there's the owl. And the owl to me represents two things. It represents the good news, the bad news, the wisdom of a situation, and the deception. There are times I have thought something would make me happy that when in reflection, I knew perfectly well it was never going to make me happy. But at the time, I was so tired of being on the journey to find what would make me happy that I just wanted it to work out. And Libra sometimes will do that. You'll be a cooperative in a partnership, in a dynamic that serves a part of what you want, but maybe it's not the whole enchilada. And I do believe that this is a week where the whole enchilada matters. So this reflection, what really makes me happy? Because it's now an opportunity for Libra to assert themselves. This is a new beginning. That new beginning is to say to Spirit, I'm ready. I'm ready for that intimate love. I'm ready to let go of my story of intimate love. I'm ready to allow for a new experience. I'm ready to allow for not a healing. I don't want a healing. I'm not damaged. I'm allowing for the wisdom of what I thought I wanted that I didn't get, that I really never wanted because I was somewhere else. So here we go. I'm asserting myself to Spirit and to myself. This is kind of a come to Jesus moment with yourself, Libra, because there's Chantal and there is the enchantment of storytelling. I could talk about history. Oh, the angels are saying, get over your romantic history. I don't think so, because there's the new beginning to lovingly assert yourself. So Tebow, make your dreams come true. What story do you tell yourself about love? It's time to write a new story. Be the leading man in your own movie. Be the leading woman. Because Spirit is saying there's false evidence that was appearing real. And now as you connect to Spirit, you know that what you thought you wanted before didn't really serve who you are now or where you would be going. I feel like this for Libra is really more about taking the balancing of the scales and starting to really put them in balance, where you write a story where you win. And it isn't because your history was keeping you from winning. It's because you were coming into situations that were defining and clarifying what would make you truly happy in the long run. Most people have gotten married for survival throughout history. You have a cow, I have a daughter, let's exchange them. You get the daughter, she'll make you sons. I get your cow, I'll have milk. This is how it kind of went. And while those things may be in play in certain parts of the world, there's, for the most part in our civilized world, the choices have changed. But our ability to catch up with those choices sits in our base chakra. How safe do we feel in that base chakra? So Libra, now is a time to make decisions based on what makes you happy, in addition to what makes others happy. All right, here we go. On to our Virgos. As I was getting ready, again, I have many thoughts while I'm getting ready for work. And this is work, I guess. I don't really think of it as work, but it is. I was thinking about how the first 6 houses, culminating with Virgo, are all sort of about, the soul entering the human experience and the various dynamics that it will receive before it comes into the last 6, which are more about, almost feels like you come into the world and you first figure out who you are physically, and then who you are in relation to others in Gemini. And then you go into who you are in your home. And then as you get to the 6th house, it's really the work house. And the work house is something that will feed your wallet, but it could enslave you. So it's an interesting dichotomy, because it could serve happiness and it can also interrupt the happiness. So I just and I thought it was interesting that Virgo represents being dependable and again dutiful, and at the same time it's ruled by Mercury, which is very Peter Panish and very youthful. So there's kind of this interesting dichotomy within the Virgonian energy. So let's see. Maybe the 12th house too, Brianna. I know it'd be the sleep after the 8th house. All right, here we go. Virgo, our first angel is Archangel Michael. The second is Opal. The third is Rochelle. And the final is Sonia. Okay. For Virgo, joining Archangel Michael is the Bee card. Joining is the perception card. Joining Rochelle is the communications card. And joining Sonia is the focus card. So I find it so interesting, the things that I'm inspired to say before I do the reading, because Archangel Michael is about courage. He's not just about protection. And I feel like courage for Virgos is what is so important. It's where the victory comes in. It's where the luck comes in. And when I say courage, it's the courage to believe that you're prepared, that preparedness meets opportunity equals good luck. Because to be prepared is, to me, to understand what truly is my passion with my work and what has enslaved me. Because this is where your childlike perceptions have shifted. And this particular angel, Opal, talks about God watching over your children on heaven and in earth. And this is God watching over your perceptions, because in the angel's advice, you're learning how to communicate, and that it's practical for you to communicate and dependable for you to communicate from the depths of your heart. I'm not saying, Virgo, this is the absence of hard work. That's not it at all. It's just about hard work. Like, if you love digging a ditch, then awesome. But if you don't love digging a ditch, then Spirit is saying, have the courage to do what you love. That's where your luck lies. And to pay attention to what your perceptions are. Because, in the day, if a slave did not do what was expected by others, there were consequences. And we don't need to go into how extreme some of those consequences could be. So it may be a challenge in some respects to follow one's heart. And we have, think about it, your ruling planet, Mercury, is square in Libra, is squaring Saturn this week. Saturn about the rules, the restrictions. It's kind of like, in some respects, it's kind of the quintessential of what I'm talking about, what is expected versus what I want. Because Spirit is saying, I'm with you now, and the veil's thinner now. Their presence might be much more palatable to you as you focus in on what it is you want, and how they'll bring you your messages in a very earthly, practical way. So I want to offer it this way, because as Mercury moves into Scorpio, for some reason, I keep getting that the veil between here and there is going to be so much thinner, and that people are going to dream about deceased loved ones, feel like they're having more deja vus, feeling like they're seeing. When my dad first died, I swear I thought I saw him on the street like 3 or 4 times, and it was not him, but it was a man who looked so similar to him, which would then trigger a memory. And then there was a sign for an artist exhibit, and the name was Tom Hunt, and my dad's name was Tom Hunter. So pay attention to stuff like that. And because I think this is where Spirit will start to make their connection with you known and make it more practical, which will then make all the other things that you put into place more practical moving forward. All right. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. So blessings to you. Thank you. Thank you. My dad died at night as well. I think it was in the middle of the night. I don't know exactly when. He was bugging me last night. He was here smoking cigarettes in my house all night long. Really bothered me. I swear that's what he does. And I think he thinks it's funny, because I shut the windows, I shut the slider, I had my air filter on, and it just smelled like cigarettes was around me. And it happens all the time. My dad loved to smoke. He didn't smell like smoke either when he smoked. That was the weird part about him. He didn't have that smoker's ashtray smell at all. All right, here we go. On to our Leos, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Leo, our first angel is Celeste. The second is Xana. A lot of protection cards coming out. Then we have Maya, our schooling and education, and the angel's advice. And we have Opal again. All right, here we go, Leo. Let me give it a good shuffle. All right. Celeste is being joined by Merlin. Xana is being joined by the Love card. Maya is being joined by the Death card. And Opal is being joined by the Goblin. I can't help but say that this conjunction at the 22nd degree between Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn is significant. They've already met at this point once, and they're meeting there for the final time right now. And as I look at it, I see Celeste. Celeste talks about a new move to a new home or a new place of employment. And there's Merlin. It's justice, balance, and alchemy. And it's interesting to me because this is the foundational position. And I'm going to pull up a clarification card for Leo, because when I go to the final position and I see Opal, I feel like this is my fifth house for Leo, my fun house. And then there's the ego. And this is not feeling good to me, and I want to know why. So I'm going to pull a clarification card. And it's the Lady of the Lake. All right, so here we go. I've been talking about the last few weeks, maybe a couple months, I'm not sure, that it started to occur to me that Spirit said the sun rules the fifth house of Leo. It rules leadership. It rules personal pleasure. It rules self-expression. It rules romance, hobbies, children. And I'm thinking to myself, we talk about the sun, but we don't implement it as human beings in our own lives. We don't let the fifth house rule us. And what I mean by that is allowing what we find important to us. And I feel like this is what's going to happen here. Is that Celeste is saying, Leo, you get a lot of grief for being big. You're very charming. You're very charismatic. But not every Leo allows themselves the privilege to be all they can be. Okay? And I feel like Merlin is saying it's time to start thinking about being all you want to be, both in work and in your life in general. Because in the opportunity, the obstacle is the Love card, and there's Xana saying that you're being protected. And part of what I believe is this revolution that's going on around the world, where we're breaking down old antiquated structures and rewriting them to give life to our own evolution with the internet and with our ability to communicate in ways we never did before. Because I think that part of this moving into the age of Aquarius is to see the value of fifth house activities as law. And when I say law, I don't mean like martial law, have to do it, but as that is the soul's intention, and everything else around the zodiac is grandly designed to either provide contrast, to empower. Because if we never have an obstacle, we worry that our manifestation will be pulled out from underneath us. And when we conquer our obstacles, we feel empowered by it. We feel strengthened by it. Because I feel like somehow you're learning through this transformation. And I think that the Death card is really not the death of your ego, but the death of your ego in relation to what other people think about it. And I say that in a loving way, because I feel like when I look at the final position, we have Opal, which represents God and the angels being in charge of our children and being safe on heaven and in earth. The ego is here saying, are you edging God out? Because this is the wounded ego. And then here is the Lady of the Lake asking us to have courage. So let me back this up, because I'm sort of focusing this as Leo, the individual. And I do think that the individual has an opportunity to birth things from their creative and their self-expression that they may have clipped in the past or put sort of on a shelf. Now I want to say this about kids, because if you've been trying to have children, if you're of that age and you want to have a family and you've been challenged either getting pregnant or staying pregnant, then you've got to consider the soul's journey into this dynamic right now and not take everything so personally, because the babies will more than likely come through. And I say babies, but they may want to wait for Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter to move the heck away from each other so that they have a little bit of an easier birth chart. So that's where I'm going with that, because the Lady of the Lake is courage through emotional storms. Courage. Look at that water. Look at her hair flying, and she's holding Excalibur, the sword of truth. All right, let's go on to our Cancers. I was watching a show about Salem and the witch hunts, and it's interesting that 19 people were killed as witches in Salem witch hunts, which at the number doesn't really, I always thought it was such a bigger number of people, and yet it's such a powerful piece of Massachusetts history. And I bring it up because these people were charged because their accusers said they did it. Now, these accusers were, out of their mind. They were having weird spells, and no other witnesses were required. So while there were, I think, a couple hundred people actually accused of being witches, the 19 people that were actually executed stood in a way to help us today not be accused of crimes without jurisdiction or without due process is the word I'm looking at. So, and the reason I say this is because there's a wisdom behind each disruption. And I feel like that's what Spirit is asking us to look for. And that square between Mercury and Saturn that's disrupting something in our everyday activities, not just our communications, is asking us to look for a bigger picture. Are we sticking to those everyday routines because we enjoy them or because we're used to them? That's what I think it's about. So here we go, Cancer. Our first angel is Fiona. The second is Serena. The third is Chantal. And the final is Grace and Antoinette. Ooh. All right, here we go. Fiona is being joined by the Movement card. Serena is being joined by the Focus card. Chantal is being joined by the Protection card. And Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Raven. Okay, so this is what I want to say for my Cancers. Something is shifting now, okay? So I want to put it this way, because that 22 degrees conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto could be the time when everything flips to where it is where you want it to be. This road you've been walking up slowly and arduously throughout this year feels like it's coming to an end. Fiona says, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving that help. You deserve heaven's help. And there's the Movement card. And I don't really feel like this is about straight up money. I feel like the focus is on general abundance and ease. If you look at it, Cancer, look at Serena. She is she's just calm. She's turned it over. She's almost like she's been worn down to a place where I can't worry anymore. I know God's going to take care of things, and my worrying isn't going to do any good. And there's the Focus card, because Chantal is the angel of romance, and there is the Protection card. And this is in the angel's advice. So I'm not going to assign this strictly to love and romance as much as I feel like it's love in general. Things that you love, people that you love, places that you love, activities that you love, all the things that make you feel more fourth house happy, I mean, again, there are times I live alone and I will make a sauce and I'll put it on the stove. And I don't even know if I want to eat the sauce as much as I want to walk into my home and feel like there's a mom in here cooking for me. So I'll put it on simmer and let my house smell good. That's what this feels like to me, because now is a time of being compassionate, because the Raven represents specific timing, coincidence, magic. And I want to put it this way, because there are things that have been going on. This disruption that we've experienced in all our little corners of the world has been facilitating things. When I say facilitating, it's almost like, let's say this. Let's say you're a Cancer and you do want to be in a relationship. And There's been nothing going on. And then this disruption hits, lockdown hits, people lose their jobs. And then a few months from now, you meet somebody and they say, oh my God, that COVID pissed me off so much. I decided to quit my job, leave my house, move to California. And now I've met you and we're madly in love. I'm just saying, sometimes disruption is more than it meets the naked eye. And I think that's what's been going on for Cancer. So keep your heart open and know that soon I think there'll be some fun activities for you to start enjoying again. I know I've talked about a lockdown, and I do believe that there will be, but I don't think it's going to be the same as it was before, because not everybody's going to play by the rules. I'm just saying. Okay, let's go on to our Geminis. And Gemini, this is a big month for you because you've got an eclipse coming at the end of the month. I think that's going to be very interesting again for our everyday activities. Space for the soul. We're funny if we do that. I do. I sometimes just like to cook for the smell in my house. It's so funny. Sometimes during the holidays, I'll buy cinnamon sticks and just put them on the stove in water so that when you come in, it smells like baking. I'm such a weirdo. And I don't know if you guys can see because I don't usually have it on because I do this during the day, but I have a mock fireplace there too. I like to have a little fireplace. All right. We're going to get this done quick today. It's almost only 12 o'clock and I'm already on Gemini. All right, here we go. Gemini. Our first angel is Archangel Uriel. The second is Daniel. The third is Xana. And the final is Serena. You know, eclipses bring in fated events. And not every eclipse brings in a fated event. But if you, as a Gemini, look in your chart and you see where this moon, I mean, I'm talking like this is the end of November, like the 28th or something. I don't know. Because I'm looking at the square between Saturn and Mercury, your ruling planet, and I'm thinking you could get depressed. You could get pissed off. You could be like, forget it. Nothing's ever happening. It's just going to be dry. My life is just going to be like this. Nothing's ever going to happen. And things are happening behind the scenes. And so part of your job is to kind of think to yourself, well, maybe there's just something I don't know about. Maybe there's just something I don't know about. All right. So here's Archangel Uriel being joined by the Truth card. Daniel's being joined by Merlin. Xana's being joined by the Birth and the Rebirth card. And Serena is being joined by the Fire Fairy. Okay, so for my Geminis, I think that this particular week might be a little bit challenging for you in the sense that you may feel like things are drying up. Things are, almost like I'm in a cul-de-sac. I'm going around and around and nothing. But you know what? It's okay to be frustrated. It's all right. It's, you're naturally ruled to be sociable, to be the life of the party. And just kind of like Leo in some ways, you've got that youthful, fun, get up and go energy. And it's okay for you to feel frustrated. And I want to say this way, because Daniel is the angel of marriage and there's Merlin. And I want to put it this way, because if you're frustrated in partnership, or you're frustrated for the lack of partnership, if I was to ask each one of you individually, will your partnership come? I feel like you'd say yes. I'm just sick and tired of waiting for it to show up or for it to course correct. Because Merlin is balanced through pressure. Merlin is the great wizard. Merlin creates something out of nothing. He is magical. He is the ultimate in alignment to my frequency of what I want. And I think this has to do with partnership for my Geminis, because I think that you're being protected. And I just got done saying for Cancer, if you're listening to the timestamps, that there's the potential that somebody is literally, as a result of this last couple of years, either gotten a divorce, moved their location, changed their job, and they show up in your world somehow. And you realize, well, if they hadn't made all those changes, I wouldn't even know them. And so my opportunity was not there before. That's the truth. It did me no good to be frustrated because it wasn't there before. And so I'm being protected as I go through this rebirth, because Serena is the angel of abundance and there is the Fire Fairy. And I could think about this as money, but I don't think it is about money. I don't feel like this is about Gemini really wanting a new job. And if you want a new job, that might be the B story, because I feel like what you want is the ease of a flow of life, a flow with others, even around you, your teammates, your workmates, your siblings, the people in your everyday life. And I do think you really are ready for your partnership. So this is what I want to say. The law of attraction works fabulous, but the law of allowing is where people get tripped up. So Gemini, start saying, I'm allowing you to bring in my partner spirit. I now surrender, almost like you're in an AA program. I'm powerless over the situation. It's your job to bring me my loved one, and the person that is going to be in alignment with me. And no shenanigans. I don't need none of shenanigans, in the sense I'm ready to have this rebirth, and I'm going to stand confidently and authentically in what makes me happy. Because oftentimes when we start to open up that law of allowing, we'll bring in a contender, but it may not be the prize winner. And we have to be able to distinguish both, or between the two. All right, on to our Tauruses. This was your moon. Hi, Rabben. Heka. It almost sounds like I should say Rebecca, but it's Rabben. Rabben, welcome. Welcome, Dash 9683. Thank you. CJD, good to see you. Lindsay. Okay, here we go for our Tauruses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right. I wonder how many of I don't know about any of you, but I'm so nervous that I'm going to want to go to bed at like 7 o'clock at night and think it's super late. And I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night banging around. I hate the first day of the fall back. It drives me crazy. It feels like the day is like this long. All right, Taurus. Our first angel is Layla. The second is Merlina. The third is Chantal. It's interesting that Chantal's coming up in the angel's advice every single time. Because when it's in the angel's advice, I don't know that it's about love in the intimate world as much as it's about what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Hold on. And then there's Xana. All right. Joining Layla is the joy card. Joining Merlina is the protection card. Joining Chantal is the truth card. And joining Xana is the partnership card. All right, Taurus, ruled by Venus. You just had this rare blue moon. I want to put it this way. I really feel like, okay, so Uranus is transiting your sign, your sun sign, and my moon. And I really think that this, I thought about, will I feel anxious? Will I feel worried? Will I feel nervous? I didn't get any of that, because my moon is at 9 degrees Taurus and Uranus is now at 8 degrees Taurus. It's been hovering over there for months now. And what I realized was what Uranus was asking me to do there was really to go, what makes you happy? What truly makes you emotionally happy? And when I think about it, it really is not all the things that I might say just, what makes me happy is someone who makes me laugh, someone who's considerate of my feelings. And the other day I realized what the hook had been over the last few years when some man got my attention, and it was kindness. And so this is where I'm going with Taurus. I feel like it's time for you to really look into your Venusian part of your heart and figure out what makes you joyful and happy. Not just money and security, not just the steady energy that you can, is consistent that but dig deeper, spend time talking to God and the angels about really makes you happy. Because I don't think of myself as a naturally kind person. I think of myself as a truthful person. So whatever my truth is what's coming out. And whatever, I just don't say things to be nice. I say the truth. So because Merlin's here and Merlina's here, and Merlina's funny to me because Merlina is a wizard as well. Look at her. And there's the protection card. And I feel like this is really, you're being protected from confusion. That's what I want to say. I don't think that I think your truth. I just think that somehow in your Taurian energy, you're thinking, is it viable? Is it possible? What do I know about my life that can validate what this joy is, what I really, really want? And I don't think you have it, because the angels are saying they don't care if you've experienced it yet. You got to go to the truth. You got to go to the truth of what really makes your heart sing. Because when I talk to most people, it is not just that someone loves me, but they love me for me. That's what they tell me. I want someone who loves me for who I am, for my thoughts, for my feelings, for my interests. So that's where I'm going with this for Taurus. I feel like, you're being protected in partnership right now. If something's not working out, if this rare moon brought a breakup, it's because you're being protected, because somehow you're not fully being authentic to what you think will truly bring you happy. You may be using too much of this and not enough of this, because the Taurus energy says I need a sense of security, something I can depend on, something is reliable, something that is steady. So I think now it's about saying to God and the angels, you know what? What if what I've thought was steady was really more of a tethering? It slowed me down. And in that slowing down, I'm willing to say, you know what? I know that this is how I want to put it, because I don't think that Taurus is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I don't think it's about everything needs to be flipped, on a dime or 180 degrees. It's more about those little spots that could get bigger and bigger with time if you're not being truthful to your heart. And I want to say it this way, because it's not about looking to the other person to fulfill that. It's looking at yourself to be willing to allow for it. That's what I want to say. Okay, hope that made sense. With my little mouth thing that was going on a few weeks ago, I started to say, I allow for the healing. I'm inviting in the healing. I'm inviting in the balance in my mouth again, and I will learn from the experience. And when I started to say that out loud, I felt like in addition to the supplements and all the other things, the celery juice and everything else I was doing, everything's just course corrected. So I'm learning to trust my body, but I'm learning to do that through uncomfortable situations. And what I'm saying to Taurus is part of you is going to have to do that in your love body, which is going to require you to go into the feeling aspect and not be able to just sit and see it. Ooh, this is real. See it solid. Okay. On to our Aries, our final sign, Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Thank you, Cece Pups. I appreciate the tip. It's so sweet of you. Okay, here we go. Our final sign for today. All right. Aries, your ruling planet, Mars, will go direct in the middle of the month. We're coming to the last couple of months, and with all that Mars energy in our sign moving forward, Mercury will be moving forward. Oh, let's see what happens. Shanti, the angel of peace, is in the foundational position. Caressa is in the opportunity or the obstacle. Archangel Gabriel is in the angel's advice, and Astera is in the final position. I think that's a great idea, Z, to have a fish tank. It's very soothing to watch fish swim, I think. I love jellyfish too. Never had any jellyfish, but when I was at the aquarium, it was like, I took a video of them. I loved them. Okay. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Shanti, the angel of peace, is being joined by the dog, unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. We have Caressa being joined by the focus card. We have Archangel Gabriel being joined by the fire fairy, and Asteris being joined by the perception card. Years ago, as an Aries rising, I was going through, personal training and coaching to get over my own stuff. And I had a mentor say to me, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And I said, I want both. And they said, well, then you're going to have to think about how you express yourself. And the dog is unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity. And Shanti is the angel of peace. And as I looked at that, I felt like I said this last week to Aries. It's time for us to be the peaceful warrior. And I don't mean that this is about backing down. It's about choosing how we communicate in a way that considers, do I want to be right or do I want to be heard? Because if you want to be right, go ahead, knock it out. You're going to have that conjunction between Pluto and Jupiter to contribute to it, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be having a conversation with Mars as well, being Mars in Aries, that in Capricorn. But being the peaceful warrior will have you be able to state your truth and also consider the ears that are listening to it. Because I think that you've come to some sort of reconciliation on focus and how you're coming to the end of the lower vibrations of Mars, where you're just trying to lob people's heads off because you're pissed off or you want to move and they're in your way. I think you're transforming yourself. And I personally feel like I'm transforming myself as well, because in the angel's advice is Archangel Gabriel, the angel of communications. And then there's the fire fairy representing inspired action, optimism, creativity. And I think that's what you feel like this new chapter. I'm not giving up being me. I just know how to be me more effectually, because in the final position is Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires. And there's the perception card. And as an Aries, and maybe I'm an Aries Libra, access. Maybe my Libra gets annoyed when people, don't like me, but there's a part of me that doesn't care if you don't like me when I'm being my authentic self. I'm kind of like, I can only do what I can do. So I feel a sense of peace, that I am loving in a balanced way. I am loving in a way that I would want to receive love. I'm saying this for all Aries, because you're coming to the end of a life cycle that brings new happiness, as your focus is not so much on what the lower aspects of what maybe this Mars in retrograde in the first house of Aries has had you really reviewing how you show up in the world, how you express yourself. And you've been wrestling with, well, I don't want to not express myself the way I am. But then you've been able to start to think about how you would receive that communication. And in receiving it, you've thought of a more creative way of expressing it so the other person can hear it without feeling like they have to go into some defensive mode. Because I think that what's happening is you're becoming truly the master of the Aries energy, the master of the Mars energy, which is the truth seeker, the courageous, the brave, the one who's willing to help the underdog, the one that's willing to go into the fire building to save the dog, save the cat, save the mouse, save the hamster, not just the humans. So I feel like this is an opportunity for Aries during this week coming up and through the rest of this month to really look at this. Your beliefs represented by Jupiter are being transformed in a way that is no longer taking you to the dark side of Aries, dark side of Mars, but to the lighter side. So with that, I'm going to conclude our session today with 111 people in the room. 110. I want to thank you all for being here. We have more interesting things coming up as the month goes on, and we're heading towards eclipse season, so that's going to be fun. And of course, on Tuesday, we have a presidential election in the United States that I do believe will have the butterfly effect on everybody. So let's keep our eyes and our ears open and our hearts open, that Spirit has their hand on a divine disruption, creating something a little bit more aligned to where we want to walk. Shelley, thank you so much for asking about the Kyle Gray cards. I've got clients this afternoon, so I don't have a lot of time, but we'll incorporate that in next week's show. We'll do a Kyle Gray card. And just so you know, I am incorporating Kyle Gray cards on my own YouTube channel if you're interested in checking that out. So there's readings each week in using the Kyle Gray cards. So, all right, that's all I got for you this week, you guys. I want to send lots of love and light to you all. And I'll be back next week again with Angels and Astrology. My name is Teri Hunter. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is in the description below. And you can always meet me or meet me, you can always reach me through Lada's website under the reader's menu. So thank you so much. And Z, I got to tell you, I think I'm going to, make sure I get some toilet paper this afternoon when my clients are done, just so I have things prepared. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful week. Sending love and light to you all. Peace out.